Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. And you are welcome, my friends. I've been up for many, many hours. I'm so tired, even though it doesn't look like it. I'm always this ugly anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I want to move away from the ratings conversation, the season 11 ratings conversation, the season 11 merchandising conversation, and I want to move away from Jodie Whittaker as well, even though she said some bat crazy shit during the build up to Doctor Who season 11 and during Doctor Who season 11. I don't think it matters who he cast. Chris Chibnall's season 11 would have been bland, boring and uninteresting and very un-Doctor Who. And it's very interesting because I was rewatching An Adventure in Space and Time, the brilliant kind of docudrama written by Mark Gatiss. Great writer, love him, even though he blocked me on Twitter for keep on sending him auditions. I'm sorry, Mark, and if you ever watch this, please unblock me on Twitter. Movies TV mad. I'm never going to be horrible to you. I may not even speak to you, but it's good not to have this tweet is not available thing because that's really frustrating. Anyway, I'm getting off subject. So basically, let's focus on Doctor Who and what it's been like in the past 3 or 4 years, and even more. So season 11 was bland, boring and uninteresting. Season 10 was boring, bland and uninteresting, but not as boring, bland and as uninteresting as season 11. Now, a lot of people don't like season 9, but I thought it was building up to something really special. I liked the two-parter thing. I think it really worked. And I think the only issue with season 9 was the finale and Moffat copping out. Now, season 8 was all right. Now, we know that Capaldi's Doctor wasn't the most interesting of Doctors, but that goes within the writing and the decision Stephen Moffat made, rather than anything Peter Capaldi did, or because maybe he was wrong for the role. He wasn't. Peter Capaldi was perfect. Moffat got that right. And in the beginning of the season, when Capaldi's Doctor was very kind of Dr. Gregory House type, it was amazing. But all of a sudden, he copped out. He made it the Clara Oswald show, and this is how it died a death. Season 7, very mediocre, a mess of a season. You've got the farewell tour of the Ponds, and then he introduces Clara. And I think in season 7, I actually prefer Clara's character to what I did in season 8 and 9, by the way. Season 6 I really enjoyed. Season 5 I really enjoyed. And obviously, all the RTD seasons were awesome. So I think when you look at when the issues started with Doctor Who, it really did start with season 7. I think from the moment Matt Smith declared he didn't want to be the Doctor anymore, his friends had moved on, he wanted to move on. This is when Stephen Moffat kind of he lost his mojo. But at least it wasn't the buttfuck that season 11 was. Season 11 was a bore and very, very un-Doctor Who. And the reason I mentioned An Adventure in Space and Time is because that's a docudrama about the creation of Doctor Who and what Doctor Who was. An amazing thing. And I'm kind of watching this and I've got tears running down my eyes and I'm thinking, why did you have to do this to Doctor Who? Why did you have to kill it? You know, Russell T Davies brought it back in a brilliant way. His format was very exciting, very adventurous, very romantic. Not romantic in the relationship, in the love affair way, but just in the way he did it. And it really worked. You were excited for every episode. And now what we've got a show that's kind of died a death. But this didn't start with season 11. This started from before season 11. The ideology was there. It wasn't as bad. Season 11 took it to another level. And you look at season 11, and I think, as I said before, The Woman Who Fell to Earth was a great start. In fact, it was like I was watching an RTD season premiere in a way. And there was a lot of promise to that. And I'm thinking, well, Jodie Whittaker is actually acting like the Doctor. This is great. Who cares what she says in public? This is great. This could work. And then as we went to episode 2 and episode, I think Rosa was a good episode, but you go to episode 2, episode 4, and it just becomes more blander and stupider and uninteresting. And you are just watching it through fan loyalty, brand loyalty. There is no excitement there. It's not Doctor Who anymore. No one's been fleshed out, including the Doctor, including her companions. She's got 3 companions. They don't work. They've got Bradley Walsh there as Graham, and Graham is kind of acting more like the Doctor than the Doctor. Graham is getting more kind of screen time than the Doctor, and she's being sidelined. So that's the problem with SJWs. They make this big kind of talk about representation and having little girls watching Doctor Who, which I think is hilarious because little girls have always watched Doctor Who, by the way, even back in '63. Little girls were watching Doctor Who. And this is kind of hilarious because if you watch An Adventure in Space and Time, Mr. Hartnell's own granddaughter was obsessed with Doctor Who. Now, I don't know how accurate to reality it is, but let's say it is accurate to reality. And then you've got that little boy who approaches him while he's on the bench as well. So children always loved Doctor Who. This is not a new thing. Russell T Davies didn't create that. Although what Russell T Davies did, he had families, mums and dads, sons and daughters sitting down watching Doctor Who. That was a beautiful thing. Now that kind of thing subsided during the Moffat run. So I think when we look at the problems with New Who, it's become a problem ever since really season 7. But there were elements of season 7 at least you could enjoy. Matt Smith's portrayal of the Doctor was so good. Sometimes when I go back, I actually enjoy season 7 more than I did. And I think the real problem probably started from season 8, when Moffat definitely, I think it broke him. Matt Smith leaving broke him. And for me, that's interesting because, this is Doctor Who. People leave. But maybe he thought, Matt, I really believe there's more for you to do, and maybe that disappointed him. But, he brought in Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi is a big fan. He loves Doctor Who. They were doing this world tour. It really looked like this would be the rebirth of Doctor Who. But it was another chisel, another nail in the revival's coffin. And so once we get to season 11, we think, okay, there's ideology here. She's coming out and saying a lot of crap, a lot of crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, ignore my phone. Someone will pick that up in a minute. But basically, you see, I told you. So basically, season 11's problems for me are that it's just a very, very boring, dull, uninteresting, and there's no motivation really for you to keep watching it. And I think the problem they've found with, and I don't really want to talk about sales and stuff, but I will go into it. The reason there's not much rewatching going on. People talk about the iPlayer numbers and the on-demand figures. But if you actually research how many people have gone back after the season's finished to rewatch it, it's very, very low. And the amount of people buying the box sets is really, really low, reducing the price of the box set, the season 11 box set, 3 or 4 times. And of course, Mr. TARDIS and his army of darkness have explanations for everything. And whenever you try and say anything to the guy, it's citation needed, citation needed. Every time Mr. TARDIS says citation needed, we win, the real Doctor Who fans. But I don't want to talk about that guy anymore because for me, he's just pointless. What's not pointless is our love for Doctor Who and how really it's been dying a slow, painful death, really since season 8. But season 7 was problematic. But I will give it to Stephen Moffat. He did have a passion and a love for Doctor Who. He was at a convention, or not a convention, at a pie with Russell T Davies. Russell T Davies was asked, do you still think about stories of Doctor Who? He says no, because RTD is always trying to act cool, like he doesn't want to do Doctor Who anymore. But Stephen Moffat said, yeah, I'm always thinking of ideas. And this is what I actually like Stephen. Even though there were issues within his run of Doctor Who, you can tell he really loves the character, because for a man like Stephen Moffat, who was slaughtered by the public so often, to still have a love for this character is amazing for me. But you have to analyse what kind of love or understanding Chris Chibnall has for Doctor Who. Now, I think the Chris Chibnall conversation is irrelevant because he will be going very, very soon. He has failed. And Mr. TARDIS, I don't really want to keep on mentioning your name, but you want a citation. Chris Chibnall didn't want Doctor Who on a Saturday night. He wanted it on a Sunday. The BBC overruled him. It's going back to Saturdays. Chris Chibnall didn't want a Christmas Day special. He wanted a New Year's special. This year, we're going to get a Christmas special. You may want a citation on that, Mr. TARDIS, but I know what's going on. I know where the bodies are buried, and I know that's happening. So already he's being overruled, which is kind of evidence in itself that he's going to be replaced. As I say, I don't really want to go into Jodie Whittaker's casting. I still think if you wanted to go female, there were females with such great screen presence, such more talent than Jodie Whittaker to be the Doctor. So many people, right? And it was like, right, we're just going to go with someone I know, and that was the end of it. So I think if you're looking for evidence that the BBC are losing faith in Chibnall, you can see the fact of the matter that he's returning from Sundays to Saturdays and we're getting a Christmas Day episode. As I say, the Mirror have reported lots of stuff that's kind of plugged as rumours, but actually becomes very, very accurate. So it's going to be very, very interesting what happens when we do reach kind of autumn. There should be an announcement about a Christmas special. I think there'll definitely be one. I think the thing is with having it on New Year's Day this year, at least we had a Doctor Who episode, even though it was very bland, ordinary Doctor Who episode in the calendar year. And then if we have one on Christmas Day, that's 2 in the calendar year. That's better than nothing. Let's hope that the Christmas Day special is a bit more traditional, a bit more seasonal. And I know a lot of people don't like the seasonal episodes. I do. It excites me. Knowing that Doctor Who was on Christmas Day was one of the things that got me hyped up about Christmas. And I love Christmas. I adore Christmas. But having the Doctor Who Christmas special was very, very special. So I'm very, very certain. I think the accuracy of that report about it coming back to Christmas Day, definitely going to get a Christmas special this year. So he keeps on getting overruled. And at the end of the day, as a producer, if the network, if the broadcaster is losing faith in you and overruling the things you did the previous season because they clearly didn't work, then you know there's an issue and you know he's going to be gone. And the BBC really have to think really carefully who replaces Chris Chibnall, because more than anything, you could get a mannequin to play the Doctor. As long as the writing's good, it could work, right? Maybe not, but you know what I mean. It's about the writing. It's about the idea. It's about the development. That's what makes any show or any movie work. It's the brains behind the outfit, not the leads. The leads just do as they're told. Actors are just a commodity. And I'm sorry to any actors watching, but you are. That's what you are. You are a commodity. So I think at the end of the day, we are going to get over this situation. Chibnall is a failure. He's proved he's a failure. We will get the changes. Unfortunately, we have to sit through another season until that happens.